Everybody had a good day and was successful trading today. I'm going to be going over the S&P 500 E-mini futures, my analysis and the trades I made for Monday, May 12th. Before I get started, um, all of this, everything I know is because of Al Brooks, so all props to him. Um, if you want to go check out the Al Brooks trading course, I will link it down below. Um, I'm just going off of what he has taught. And a huge shout out to Troy H for teaching me this strategy. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to be trading today or anytime. So, a huge thanks to him. Once again, if you guys don't know anything about price action and don't understand about what I'm talking about, I would go watch a video on price action before watching my channel, or go ahead and buy the Al Brooks course that I'll put down below. First thing I want to say is just, today was the first day after the Trump trade deal with China, lowering all those tariff prices. So as you can see, it had a huge effect on the after hour market. It jumped over 170 points. So if you look at the Globex chart, you can see there was a huge spike here, and I'll come back to the Globex chart a little later. I'm just going to go ahead and get into the day. So me and my trading partner both thought that there would probably be a little resistance today, just after such a huge climb. Definitely a lot of micro gaps that need to be filled in the Globex chart, which is kind of my consensus going into the day. But I definitely wasn't surprised that it was ended up being overall bullish. But you can see the beginning of the day, it started off with this big rip down, over 25 points. So a huge bar going down, kind of showing that it might be a bearish kind of start to the day, and kind of was choppy. And where I got into some trouble right off the bat of the day, I think I was pretty eager to trade and had this idea going into the mind with the tariff and Trump that it was going to be a really good day. Um, so my psychology wasn't exactly right on or where I needed it to be. So, I never call losing days losing days. I call them learning days. And today was a good learning day, and a small learning day, but a day that I needed to learn on. Um, so I saw this huge push down with 4 bars, as you can see, with a massive micro gap. Um, with this push down over 30 points. So, of course, with my trading breakout and follow throughs or second leg method, I thought that this was potentially needed to go lower and maybe um, fill some of these massive gaps from the Globex chart, the massive micro gaps. Um, what I didn't think about, and going back, this was a very, very unwise trade. And what I didn't see, and I should have just taken a little bit more time to analyze before I jumped into this trade, um, and should have easily been able to get out and realize where I went wrong, which I didn't, was that it had already had 3 pushes down. So you could say 1 to 3 was the first push down, even though this is a little doji bar, but one pullback on 4 and 5. 2, push down on 6, complicated pullback 7 through 9, and the third and final push down. And you never want to trade on a third leg anticipating a fourth, or even the end of a second leg anticipating a third. Your percentages and the the probability for actually having a successful trade go way down. So I didn't see that, and originally, I got in because this with having a wick this down and pulling back, I should have known that it probably wasn't the smartest trade. But I got in and got out break even. So I had even though I learned today and took some losses, I had very, very good risk management, which I have been trying to work on and um, just really good discipline when it comes to how much I'm willing to lose and how much I'm willing to risk to reward ratio. So I'm happy about that. So I entered here hoping that it was going to push back down without realizing it was already the third push. And I got stopped out break even. And I measured this out using Fibonacci, and I thought this was a good, really good pullback into that kind of 50%, 30, 40% range. And I kind of, this is where I kind of strayed from the plan. I didn't wait for confirmation or anything like that. I sold the close of this bar thinking it was going to get another leg. Once again, I hadn't realized it was already the third push and ended up losing 10 points on this bar. I should have, this was the one time during the day that my risk management wasn't the greatest. I should have just lost 5 points. I had my stop loss at five, and I could have recovered very nicely earlier in the day, but kind of a not the greatest to start off, but it happens. You're not always going to win, so not a big deal. Going forward, first of all, I'm going to try to keep this short and brief, like always. But going forward, you get these three pushes down, and after I realized that, I thought maybe 14 through 17 was a reversal trend bar, which it very well is. It has a huge breakout, huge micro gaps, and kind of eventually starts this trend up. Um, but I saw the pullback on 18, and I was fine with this trade. It just didn't work out perfectly the way I wanted it to. Um, I saw the pullback on 18 to about 50%, which is a good entry level. I waited for confirmation on 19. So once I saw 19 getting a good go up, I entered, thinking that this was a confirmation that I was going to at least push a little bit higher. Um, and as you can see, it clearly didn't go my way, but I just got out break even. So not the worst trade, not the best trade, probably just with the overall pattern and where the market was going at the moment, where it was kind of started off pretty bearish to hop into a reversal trend right away, even though I just broke even with good risk management. Probably not the smartest, but break even trade isn't the worst. Then we kind of go sideways, and I kind of realized that the market tried to break through on 9, tried to break through on 10, failed, and then tried to break through on both 17 and 18. So I thought this was a key line of resistance to break out of. And then I thought, 14, 13 tried to break through, 14 tried to break through. So I thought this green line down here was a line of support. And just to let you guys know, my line of resistance I always keep in red, and my line of support I keep in green. So it kind of went into a trading range, as you can see, kind of went sideways, still getting some, pushes down. You get one, two, three, kind of trying to push down to this EMA, the 20 EMA. And then it got really interesting. And like I said, I was already down on the day. And after breaking even on this trade back here, I was trying to really wait for a perfect setup, to be able just to play it smart. I didn't want to overtrade. Unfortunately, I did end up overtrading today, and I'll get into that. But um, I was trying to be very, very patient. So I saw the breakout of 31 and 32 with a strong micro gap, but I kind of thought we were in the middle of the range, and I kind of, when you're in the middle of the range, it's kind of no man's land. You don't really want to trade. You kind of want to, buy at the bottom, sell at the top type of thing. So I really thought about buying this kind of complicated, or you could say it's a pullback failure and then a slight pullback on 34. I thought about buying it, which would have worked out great. I could have made 7 points off of that, and as you can see, I would have killed it. But I decided to be patient and know that a better trade was going to come. So you get a push up here, pull back, a second push, pull back, and a third push. And this is where it gets interesting. So my whole thesis was it was going to have one, two, three legs and be done and probably bounce off this line of resistance. But the second that 39 broke through this line, I actually was in communication with my trading partner, and we both agreed that because of this break of structure of the trading range, that this restarted the leg count. So this was now leg one, um, and then bar 40 happened with this another huge micro gap. So we have two huge micro gaps breaking the trading range over 15 points up. And at that point, we knew that we could kind of sell any implied pullback. So when it pulled back here on 41, I entered and just let it ride a little bit. I should have probably scaled in a little bit more on 42. As you can see, that's probably the best pullback of this new leg structure after reset the legs. Is you probably get one here, pullback, failure on 42, and then a second leg up. But I ended up making a little over 10 points on this trade, so I was break even for the day after I caught this couple legs up after it really broke through this good line of resistance. Um, After this, I was really thinking with this big push up, creating a new high of the day. 90% of the time, charts will try to either push up to the Globex high or the Globex low. So I really had a consensus and a hypothesis that this was going to try to push up at least one more time. Um, Going even further into that, the main reason I took this next trade after this pullback um, of 45 through 47, 48 is because on the 15-minute chart, the 5-minute chart usually moves in threes, and the 15 usually moves in twos. So at this point, we had only had this rip up 11 through 15, and I thought this was going to be have a need of a second leg. So it came back on the 15-minute chart, perfectly hit 33% pullback, and I entered after confirmation that it wasn't going to be just reversal, a trend reversal. I entered here, as you can see, in 49 after getting a good push up with the thought process that the 15-minute chart needed at least one more leg up, try to test the kind of high, try to test the Globex high, and it was a really really good trade. If I would have stayed in, I would have made 10 points, so I would have been up 10 on the day at that point. But I was trying to play it really safe with my risk to reward ratio. So once it got up here into the 53 section, I was up about 5, 6 points. I went ahead and dragged my stop loss from down 5 points to break even, just so I kind of had a free trade. I had already made back my points. I was happy with that. Um, I wish I would have kept it at losing 5 points because, as you can see, it pushed down right here, and it barely hit my break even. Um, and I got out break even. So it was a good thought process. I was playing it right, kind of first time doing a pretty big swing trade like that. As you can tell, this is over the time frame of when I entered was 130, and when I would have actually made profit was 240. So about over an hour of a trade. So definitely a big swing trade, which is not what I'm used to doing. But I saw the success that it could have had, and it did have. So I entered that. Kind of going back, even though this was kind of a push up in the 15-minute chart, it kind of just went sideways and have some weird pushes, trading range kind of again. And this where I kind of, I think I was thinking that I should have stayed in and I would have made 10 points. So I was trying to force a trade at this point, and this is where I kind of feel like I got into the point of the day where I forced a trade. Um, and it still wasn't the most terrible hypothesis, but I ended up trading against the overall market regime of the day. So as you can see, it kind of turned into a very bullish day. And when we get to 63 through 66, has a strong four leg push down or four bar push down, excuse me, with a small micro gap, decent, definitely not anything significant, or at least I shouldn't have thought it was significant. It was only 11 points down, not even closed. At the closing, it was only 8. But the biggest thing for me is that it closed below the 20 EMA on 66. As you can see, I entered in once and I was like, this isn't a good trade, so I got out break even. And once I saw 66 close below the EMA after 65 broke the EMA, I thought it was going to get at least one push down, maybe try to fill some of these micro gaps it had created earlier in the day. And I was wrong. So I ended up just taking a 5 point loss. And at that point, I realized that I was probably over trading, and um, I decided to be done for the day. Kind of just went sideways and then had one final push up at the end of the day. But besides that, that was kind of my overall um, consensus and thought process on today, May 12th, the S&P 500 E-mini futures. Um, Lost 5 points on the day, but it was a good learning day. I could have easily crushed 20 to 30 points today, but it's just not always how it goes. Thank you guys for tuning in if you made it to the end of the video. And once again, I'll put Al Brooks trading course below in the comments, and all the props to Troy H for everything he has taught me and the making me into the trader that I am and going to become. Um, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Stay updated, and yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I wish you good luck.